Internet! Welcome to Two and a Half Brains. This is our latest weekly discussion of the latest episode of Survivor Season 43, Episode 12, the penultimate episode. One to go after this. We're going to talk all about it. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can like our Facebook page, Pavement Road Productions, on Facebook, Pavement Road Prod on Facebook. Pavement Road Productions is our email address as well. You can email pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Subscribe, share the post, tell your friends, let us know what you think as we get ready for this episode. Obviously, the first Amazing Race finale is tonight, and then the huge Survivor episode. The best of the season. No questions asked. Hands down, best episode of the season. Well, you don't like Survivor anyway, so what am I asking you? Let's bring in the co-host of the episode, Jessica. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Name one was better. Name an episode that was better.
I don't remember the episode.
Exactly. So it was. I'm glad. Here's one thing I'm glad. No Prisoner's Dilemma freaking bullshit this week.
Prisoner's Dilemma.
Or not. Yeah, whatever it's called.
I'm surprised that they didn't bring it back, but I think it's because both actually won it that maybe they're going to do it every 2 seasons or something.
I really hope they never do it again, because if you go out that way, you get completely hosed. And if you don't, you just got incredibly lucky. And neither one of us won the game who won it. So
I wish I remember what it was actually called. It was like Fire something or other. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Thankfully, it's gone. So what we're going to do, yeah, hopefully forever. We'll break it all down, talk all about it. Obviously, I said be sure to subscribe so you get all the updates and everything like that. Amazing Race finale just aired. That'll be coming out here shortly, probably around the same time this one does. And also, the Survivor finale is next week, so we're gonna watch the finale, digest it, and then talk about it in the next week or so. Probably after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, probably is when we'll get that out to you. But we'll see what happens. So we'll have time. We will have some time off coming up. So thankfully,
Sure.
but we'll talk about it. We'll get out the content, and we could go get that done and out of the way, so we can look forward to the new year. So, obviously, with the penultimate episode, we do things a little differently, especially when there's 5 left. We like to go ahead, talk about the episode itself, and this is a huge one to talk about. Some big stuff happened this week. And then talk about who did not survive, as we always do. And then, obviously, there's only 5 left, so you can't really talk about the top 3, bottom 3. We are going to do those, talk about who's got the best odds of getting to the end, and kind of what they have to do to get to the end. And kind of like who they kind of, what kind of previous winner they remind us of a little bit. And then finally, it's who we think has the best shot to win, and kind of who they beat when, who they can beat, who they need to sit next to capture the win. So let's talk about it. Let's dive on in here as always, and we'll start with the 3 moments that mattered. Moment number 1 is
Cassidy's clutch win.
Yeah. So what was that all about?
I don't know if I agree saying it's clutch, but they they went through their immunity challenge. I didn't see probably all of it because I was a little bit preoccupied. But the ending was with the puzzle of a bat hanging upside down, which I thought was pretty cool. Have they done anything? No, not that one. That was nice.
Yeah.
But it was between her and Cody towards the end, and then Carla kind of trailing behind. Cassidy thought she had it. Jeff checked, and you noticed one of the wings was upside down, and she fixed that pretty quickly and then won her immunity.
Yeah, the reason I say it was clutch is because she was definitely they did the reward challenge, they didn't win, and it was Carla and Owen.
Yeah, and Gabler, right?
No, it was Carla, Owen, and Cody. Yeah,
Cody. Yeah.
That went out on the reward, and they're talking about, hey, we gotta get rid of Cassidy, and Jesse's like, let's get rid of Carla. And so they're kind of deciding what they want to do. And they said, all right, let's split the votes between Carla and Cassidy so that obviously we flush them out, get rid of whoever, get rid of the other one. And then Owen's like, well, let's see if we can, kind of divide them and stir up some stuff between them, which is what they kind of did too. But they wanted to target Cassidy because and we knew Carla had idol, so we're like, okay, well, they're gonna split between Cassidy and Carla. Carla's gonna play her idol, and Cassidy's gonna go home. So it was really that's how it was lining up.
She came in clutch when it mattered.
And that's what I mean.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
I thought you meant the actual challenge of it all.
No. I mean, it's just that it was back and forth challenge. I mean, Jesse was actually way behind. And he was in the lead for a little bit, and then Cody was leading most of the way through. And I said it just came down to the puzzle, and Carla was actually leading at the puzzle stage, and her hands started cramping up. She couldn't grab the pieces to put them in, and
didn't she twist her ankle?
And then she twisted her ankle on top of it. Yeah, and she was limping like crazy the rest of the time. And then Cody was pretty solid the whole way. And then Cassidy got the puzzle done, but was upside down. And I immediately thought of Ben's final immunity challenge with Ben, when he had to spell a word. He had a U, and the U was upside down, and he lost the challenge because of it. And he ended up, and if it wasn't for the twist, we would have lost the game. And I'm like, wow, if Cassidy has the Batwing upside down and she ends up losing this challenge and then gets voted out, that's going to be just something that just lives with you forever. They'll haunt you forever, just terrible. So she did flip around, did get the immunity win. So she came in, like I said, she came in when she needed to win. And she's been targeted twice and won immunity both times when she's been like the main target. So, seems not great in the challenge necessarily, but pulls them out when she needs them. So,
yeah,
good for her on that.
Yeah.
Moment that mattered, number 2. Let's see if anything else to add.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Number 2, Idol Chaos.
Yeah, so what the heck was going on with that?
So, we all know that Jesse has been holding on to Cody's idol. That was during all the flip-flop when everybody was kind of trading idols around.
With the knowledge of power thing.
Right, yeah. So, he still had the idol, and he was trying to kind of devise a move to vote Cody out because he had his idol. But Cody was kind of going around talking about how he's got an idol, and him and Carla said, like, oh, well, we're just going to tell them we're going to play our idols, so hopefully that starts something where we can flush anybody else's idol out and whatnot.
Yeah, so really, it started that way because they were talking about, I think at the reward challenge, Cody's like, well, I have an idol, blah, 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 everybody knows it. And they said, Carla, we were told that you have an idol. She goes, no, I don't have one, blah, blah. And she was crying with Cassidy saying, I don't know why you don't trust me, blah, blah, blah. And of course,
she's crying also at the reward
with the reward challenge saying, I don't know why we keep saying I have this, I don't. And she was faking it both times.
So they got back to the beach, and Cody talked to Carla and said, I have an idol. And Carla says, I have an idol. So she finally fessed up to
And I think it was because Jesse kind of talked to Cody about it too. And anyways, so it all kind of, so like, all right, well, so Cody says, well, why don't we kind of force them to not vote for us by saying we're going to play our idols to pick somebody else. Almost blackmail them a little bit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Cody to the camera was like, I'm going to have her not play her idol and then vote her out. She's going to bluff the idol and then save it for, we'll both save ours to the final 5 and she'll bluff and not play. And then he's telling Owen we're still going to vote for her because she's not going to play it. We're going to try to get her to just not play it. And so then Jesse has the plan. Well, I still have Cody's idol. He hasn't asked for it back. And I have Dwight's idol, or Janine's idol that Dwight had, that I thought Dwight went out of the game with, but I have. So I want to play Cody's idol, and then once I play Cody's idol, flush Carla's idol, because Carla will see that Cody's idol is played, and she's gonna be vulnerable, so she'll play hers, and then we'll be good to go. And then Cody says, Carla and Cody are talking, and Carla's like, I don't believe you actually have it. Show me. So he goes and gets it from Jesse, and is out, and just like, crap. Now, now I have Cody's. Now Cody asked for his idol back. So now there goes that plan. So there were like 3 different plans for idols, and they all kind of got thrown up in the air at the last minute. So it was like, all right, well, what's actually gonna happen? So.
Yep.
And that was kind of where it was left off going into the tribal. It was like, well, and Jesse, I'll get it back. We'll keep the plan. But we weren't sure what was going to happen. I kind of went into the third one a little bit.
Completely went into the third one.
Went into the third one, so
1 and 2.
Yeah,
2
and 3.
Yeah.
Moment that mattered, number 3, though, is
Jesse's huge move.
Yeah. So
that was his move.
That was his huge move. He's like, I'm going to take out my number 1 ally because I don't want people to say we play the same game because they play a similar game.
Just that he's following him.
He doesn't want to be Cody's number 2.
Yeah.
He wants to be the number 1, and he has a point because if you remember, lots of time in history, number 1 thing that sticks out to me is Steven and JT. JT is Cody. Steven is Jesse. Steven was the mastermind, had all the strategy, played the game the best. JT was lovable and had fun and did well in challenges. And Cody and got the votes at the end because Cody was the level one, and the one everybody likes, and the charismatic one where Jesse's the schemer. And a lot of times the charismatic one gets credit, and that's Cody. So he's like, I don't want to take that chance that they're gonna give it to Cody over me. So he's like, I'm gonna flush his idol, I'll flush Carla's idol, and I'll be the only one in the game left with an idol. And it's a huge move. It's a very ballsy move. It takes a lot to pull that off. And so he goes up and they're talking. They're like, anybody have an idol? Now it's time to play it. And nobody, of course, can play the shot in the dark. That's done. And Jesse's like sitting there and he's like, and he pulls out the idol, pulls out Cody's idol, and plays it for Owen. Just because Owen was possibly the other target. If everybody plays their idols, there's only 3 left. It would be Gabler, Jesse, or Owen who'd be available to be voted out. So he throws on Owen, maybe wins a little favor with Owen. Burns Cody's idol. That Cody didn't have a say in what happened to it now, and then Carla, worried that the votes are going to bounce off of Cody onto her, plays her idol as well, and ultimately didn't need to, but we'll talk about that as we go through.
Yep.
Huge move though. Huge. Taking out your number one ally with his own taking out your number one ally with his idol that he trusted you with. And once he played it, Cody's face was like distraught. He looked over at Jesse's like, dude, and Jesse's like, I did what I had to do. It was very much an A2 Brute type of thing. It was a Michaela, did you do this? Jess and Jay like, yeah, I did it. It was very much one of those moments for sure. So it was a historical moment for me. I thought it was huge. But that being said, at the end, who did not survive?
Cody.
And so, what did he do wrong, or what kind of happened?
He got blindsided.
He did. He was talking about it was gonna be a huge blindside. He said it's gonna be a huge blindside. I'm in a really good spot. 2 things you never say forever, because they always use it when you get voted out. They always use it against Junior Edit. But yeah, he the votes came back, 1 on Owen, 1 on Carla, and the rest were on Cody. And so he, basically gave his idol to his buddy. His buddy played his idol without his knowledge and used to vote him out. So pretty crazy. And Cody again. I think Cody was made to be a bigger threat than he really was. The only way he really wins is if he's with strategists that everybody else didn't like, because Cody didn't strategize. He was saying he said he pretty much lied for the first time in the game today, and he didn't really make any strategic moves. He was just socially did well in the challenges. So overall, I think it was just I don't think he was that huge a threat. But again, if let's say he's sitting next to Carla and Jesse, and they're arguing about who's the better strategist, Cody can sit away and say, I'm just nice and likable. And maybe that's how he wins. I just didn't see him playing a good enough game to win. But that being said, Jesse made a huge move. And I was really, it looked like, I said to you, I think Cody's going to stand up and punch him in the face when this is over. And it looked like he was going to, but he ultimately, Jesse's like, I'll explain it later or whatever. And Cody's like, nothing to explain, bro, you're good. So I was happy that, I'm like, because that's one thing that could happen. Cody could get to Ponderosa, right, and tell the jury that Jesse's a jerk.
Yeah.
And then the whole jury hates Jesse, and Jesse doesn't win. Kind of like with the whole, you remember what I'm talking about? With Ricard and Deshaun? Mm-hmm. Same thing. I can see that happening the same way. Cody's the Ricard, and Deshaun, they it's poison against them. Whereas I don't think it's going to happen now, because I think it's okay. I think Cody kind of.
Well, no, they shook hands and he said it was fine. Yeah, so they're good.
I think Jesse saved that, or Cody's a better guy than Ricard maybe. Either way, let's not cut on that rabbit hole. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't think Cody played it. I don't think Cody played a great game. He played the game that he was able to play. Do well in challenges, be nice. He didn't. He said he was learning the game kind of on the fly, which you could tell.
Yeah.
He was way behind a lot of the other players, in terms of strategy. But that being said, now we're down to the final 5. I think with 2 players who have a really good shot to win, and then 2 who maybe can win, and 1 who has really no shot. But we'll talk about it as we go through here. And they also added on Cody's as we kind of wrap up with Cody's storyline here.
No, I think you touched on his reasons.
What did you think about Cody overall?
He was entertaining, I guess. He was more of almost a surfer bro, if you will.
For
but,
sure it was.
You know, he wasn't too bad.
You know, it's funny, a lot of the casual fans love him and hate Carla, and I'm just the opposite. I never the only surfer bro I really ever liked was Tyson, and I like all the strategists. You know, just again, like you said, you know, sometimes certain characters speak to you. For me, I'm not gonna be the one who dominates the challenges. I'm not gonna be the one who's crazy social and outgoing, and goofy and and hyper, but I'm gonna be nice if I can, but I'm gonna play the strategy. That's kind of the players I relate to.
Yeah.
So, as we go ahead and talk about this here, we're gonna talk about now 5-1. 5 down to 1. Who has the best chance of getting to the end, and kind of what kind of a game they're kind of playing, like what winner they're kind of modeling the game after, I would say, or at least even if it's not intentionally, who they're kind of reminding me of. So. Let's go ahead and start with the person I think has the worst chance of getting the end, and that is who? Carla. Why Carla?
Because everybody's been targeting her for the past couple weeks, but not going through with voting her out.
Yeah, and
she's got no protection
and
unless she wins immunity.
And with a busted ankle now, I feel like it's gonna be almost impossible for her to do. It depends.
Every time in the last ones, there's always some sort of balancing or some sort of weird thing.
Yeah, dexterity or carnival game or something.
Ball on a pole or something.
Yeah, so I don't know how she's gonna be able to do that now, but Carla obviously, and Bailey may make his presence known here at some point. He may give his opinion, but yeah, Carla, I think I would have maybe felt a little bit better about her chances if she didn't play her idol today. Yeah. If she plays her idol today, burns that. Now she has the final 5. She has to get through 2 votes without an idol. Maybe they'll hide one more in the jungle. It's possible. I hope they don't. But then again, Jessie still has one, so I don't know why they would. And maybe Selena make her opinion known as well. But either way, so I think if Carla would have saved her idol, I don't think they're gonna hide no one because Jessie still has that one no one knows about. So we'll see. Maybe they will, and maybe she'll get one. But I think she's in a tough spot because she's gonna have a tough time winning immunity, and she lost her idol. So she has to get through 2 votes, and she's the number 1 threat. I think everybody sees her the number 1 threat, and I feel like she's gonna go out 5th. I really do. But we'll see. What do you think?
I mean, we'll see. They're definitely going to go after her for the next vote, I would assume, but, who knows? Because I feel like they're starting to write her off a little bit now.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see. I think, if Carla wins, I think she, even though Sri has never won the game, Sri's played 3 almost flawless games, three fantastic games, and the only reason Sri hasn't won the game 3 times because she wasn't good in challenges. If she could have won an immunity or whatever, she maybe wins. I mean, she at least wins heroes villains. I'm sorry, she at least wins. If she's good at challenges and can win immunity, she at least wins fans versus favorites, and maybe she wins game changers also. So I said, who winner is Carla playing like? She's not playing like a winner. She's playing like a legend who didn't win, but I'll count that as the same thing. So Carla is playing a very, very, very good game, and if she doesn't win, it's gonna be the same reason that Sri didn't win, because she's just such a huge threat, such a great player, and they're like, well, we gotta take a shot at her, and she can't protect herself with an idol or with immunity. And that's the only reason that I think that's the only reason that Carla won't win. And I think she's playing a great game, so I'd love to see her win. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
4th best chances of getting to the end.
Jessie.
And I'm a little bit higher on Jessie than maybe you are, just because he still does have his idol. And if he gets through the final 5 with his idol, he's on the final 4. He either needs to win a challenge or win Fires, in the end he wins. And I think there's only one person who can beat him left in the game, and that is Carla.
Yeah, my whole thing is just him getting to the end. He can use his idol to get to 4, but if someone puts him in fire making, I don't know if he has done that, and he hasn't won any individual immunities himself. So that for him to do that, that would be the only thing that would help him, but he hasn't done it yet.
Well, it's funny. You remember who won the final immunity last season?
Last season, no.
Romeo. He hadn't done anything the whole season. And he won that last one. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of times it's something weird. It's a weird challenge that anybody can win. But I hear you, and I think he's got a tougher road ahead because he is, again, if Carla goes next, and I think he wanted to kind of save Carla because they were saying we can try to blindside her and get rid of her without her idol. But I think for Jesse, I think he'd rather keep Carla in the game one more round because if she's still a target, that keeps him safe one more vote, right? So I think if Carla goes out tonight, Jesse now is public enemy number one either way, and he's the biggest threat left in the game. So I think, and he said Cody may take him to the end, but now he doesn't want to have to be dragged by Cody to the end. So I think Carla was the biggest threat, or is the biggest threat left in the game, and then it's Jesse. So I think it was good that he kept Carla in the game for one more vote, so she can take the bullets in the final 5, and then he's got maneuver just basically one vote at that point. Or even better yet, if he can somehow knock out, let's say, a Gabler or whoever next, and then Carla's there. Now Carla is the target at the final 4, and he's able to skate to the final 3 even. So maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that's a way to go, or take out Cassidy at final 5 or something. But I do think he's the target. He's the threat, right? He's the one that I think they're gonna want to go after. I don't think he's got an impossible road to the end. I don't think he's got even that hard of necessarily road to the end. But he is one of the biggest threats left, and I think that's why he's if he doesn't get to the end, it's because of that. And I think that's his problem. If he does pull off a win here, he's been playing a very subtle behind the scenes type of game, kind of like an Adam Klein. He's been in on all the votes, but hasn't been out in front and taking and out front directing traffic. He's been backseat driving the whole season, and I think that's definitely what Adam did. So if he pulls off a win, I think he'd be kind of like an Adam Klein type winner, which is a high compliment for sure. Third best chance to get in the end, Jessica.
Cassidy.
Why her?
I mean, she doesn't really have much of a resume, so if she gets to the end, I don't think it's going to be much, but she's won challenges, so she's got that, and nobody really sees her as a threat, so.
Yeah, I think she's a middle of the pack chance to get to the end just because I think if it comes down to it and Carla and her have to battle, I think, the only reason like I said, she doesn't have the best odds to get in the end, not necessarily because she's playing a great game, but because
someone will take her with them.
Well, A, she's won a couple challenges, and B, if they want to split up the Carla and Cassidy there, if Carla and Cassidy want to go after each other, it could bounce back on Cassidy. Like, Cassidy's name has come up, and it's come up pretty consistently. The other 2 people left here really have been, nobody's even mentioned voting them out in a while. So that's why I have her third, because she's not a great shot to go out. I can see her going in the end, but also I can see her kind of being like a collateral damage, going out at fire or whatever, or being the next person they knock out just as Carla saves herself, or Jesse plays on himself and bounces off onto her, something like that. So I don't think she's got I don't think she's just asking me drag to the end to win to lose. But I do think I think if you're gonna vote out either if you have to vote her, Gabler, or Owen, I think it's her that gets taken out.
Yeah.
So, for all the reasons I just said. So, second best odds of getting the end is
Gabler.
And why him?
I mean, he has less of a resume than Cassidy. He's won an immunity challenge
early in the merge, which
right.
Nobody remembers that anymore.
So he's just been kind of voting with whoever talks to him about what's going on and kind of goes along with their vote.
Yeah, and it's he's confusing because he talks about how he's playing he's kind of manipulating things from behind the scenes and blah blah. And if Cassidy pulls off a win, I would say a win for her would be something like kind of like a Michelle Fitzgerald, like just kind of sticking around long enough to win a couple challenges and get the votes for her because she's likable. She has to go to the end with. I think the only way she wins is if she goes to the end with Gabler and Owen. I think it's the only way she wins. For Gabler, yeah, same. He's been talking about I'm playing this game. I'm manipulating things from behind the scenes and this and that. And we're kind of waiting for him to make that move. He's been talking about how he needs to take out Jesse, he needs to take out Cody. And, big reason that Jesse took out Cody is because Cody was talking about taking out Carla, and that's a big move for Cody on his resume. Gabler doesn't have that. And he's been talking about wanting to do it. He's been, I want to work with Carla, take out Jesse. And it's like, okay, but when are you going to do it? It's the final 5. Like, let's go. And I don't know if he doesn't have the social capital to pull it off. I don't know if he doesn't have the skill to pull it off. I don't know if he's just waiting for some reason. He's afraid to do it, afraid to make some movies he's next. I don't know. But nobody's really bringing his name up, and I can see him going there and losing, for sure. But again, if he pulls it off, if he waits till the last minute, makes one move and pulls it off, then maybe he's kind of like keeping the other threats with him, type of thing. That would be a good strategy if he can do it. If he makes the move at the right time, good for him. He's done it, and that's good. I mean, kind of like similar to how Tony did. Just Tony kept all the threats with him as long as he could, and then when they got picked up 1-1, he was the only threat left at the end, and you gotta give him the money. So maybe that's kind of what he's planning on doing. I don't know, but that's kind of, I think that's his only road to the end.
Yeah, not for sure.
And best chance to get in the end is
Owen.
Owen. Why Owen?
I mean, he can win immunity too, though, to get him to the end and then pick who he wants to come with him and whatnot. But he has no, resume and was not always on the side of the vote, was not always included in the vote. So he's just kind of been floating along like Gabler. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely right. And he's won 2 immunities. He said he can definitely win another one. But like I said, he's not even, like, nobody's talking about voting for him. I mean, he got voted this week, I guess, but nobody's really talking about voting for him because why? If there's 4 other threats we can get rid of for him, he's the last one you want to get rid of. I mean, literally anybody else is a bigger threat. Pick anybody else; they're bigger threat. So there's no reason to get rid of him. He for weeks now he's been screaming zero finalists. He that's what he's looking like. Maybe he gets knocked out before then, but there's really no reason to take him out. He's not beating anybody, I don't think, and so really there's no reason to do that. I mean, maybe if he does get to the end, maybe he's, again, if he gets to the end and somehow he can position himself as a likable alternative to other people who they don't like, then maybe he pulls off the Danny Boatwright type of win and just like, hey, I'm more likable, or he's like the Amber on All Stars, like, hey, I'm more likable than this person, vote for me. I guess that's it. I guess it's the way he could pull it off, but I just don't see him beating anybody, so there's really no reason for anybody to vote him out. Vote out a threat. You only have 2 votes left, vote out a threat. You have 1 vote left. Mm-hmm. Vote out a threat. So I don't see him being the threat, unless somehow he's put in fire and he loses, but again, that's just circumstance more than anything. Yeah. So as we go to wrap up here, let's go and talk about the 5 best chances to win, who has 5th best, and so on. It's actually kind of, sometimes it works this way, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of times this is kind of the counter to the opposite. You got the best shot to get in the end, but now who's got the best actually shot of winning? A lot of times it's reversed. So who has the worst chance of winning this game?
Owen,
yeah. 5th best chance to win the game of everybody left. And again, things happen. I really wouldn't have thought Marianne was going to win last season. But again, she got, the way things fell, she's with, a guy who didn't do anything and a guy who played a decent game but couldn't own it, right? So so maybe Owen somehow does that. Somehow, he's got to go to the end, I think, with either both Cassidy and Jesse and to be the alternative, or he's got to go to the end with neither of them and go to the end with Gabler and Cassidy and be like, hey, I'm likable and I did well in the challenges and I was the underdog and everything like that. He didn't really have any agency in the game. He's like you say, he wasn't really on the right side of any of the votes. A couple, maybe, but that was kind of more recently. So he really has been, and the only reason he was on the vote this week is because he tried to it. I just don't see him having any agency and any ability to really tell his story at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add on Owen?
No, I think we've kind of covered it between the two. Okay. He's not in a good spot.
He's not at all. Not at all. Fine spot to get the end, but no real shot to win. Mm-hmm. 4th best shot to win.
Gabler.
Yeah, Gabler. And again, it's hard to say that because if he can make a move at the final 5 and whatever, maybe it's too late to make a move at the final 5. Maybe it's too late. He takes out Carla, takes out Jesse, and he's the only one left standing. Maybe that's what he does. But again,
off of fire making and puts himself against the person.
Yeah, right, exactly. He takes out Carla next. He makes fire making against Jesse, beats Jesse. Now he's made 2 huge moves back to back, and the jury's like, that's the last thing they see before they vote. Fantastic. That's what he can do. Will he do that? It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to see him do that. But that's what he has to do to win. That's his only path to the end. He's not. He hasn't done enough. Winning the first individual immunity and not doing much since then is not gonna get you the win. Likable, all that stuff, but not enough. Definitely not enough. So that's what he has to do. Third best chance of winning.
Cassidy.
And it's kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, no, she'd kind of have to do the same thing. She's done a little bit more, but she's got to take out her bigger threats in order to even win and go with Gabler and Owen.
Yeah, again, I don't think she's done enough. Like I said, I mean, if I almost say Gabler has a better shot of pulling that off because he's been talking kind of about it the whole season, whereas Cassidy's been riding with Carla. So I think what needs to happen is she needs to take out Carla and then again do the same thing I said for Gabler, and just get credit for the move. Whoever takes out Carla and Jesse gets credit, and wins the game. Whoever gets credit for taking out Carla and Jesse wins the game. Yeah. And if nobody takes out Carla and Jesse, then Carla and Jesse are gonna win. Yeah. Second best chance of winning, I think.
So I could flip-flop 1 and 2 also, but for 2, Jesse.
Okay. And why Jesse?
I mean, with this past move, I think they would say is probably the biggest one of the season. As you said, huge move. And if he can get Carla out next, or at least before Final 3, then I think he'd probably win it. Or I think he could even win it over Carla because of the moves that he has made and kind of working with everybody without causing any rifts.
Yeah, for sure. He's had the good social game, and Carla has had the good social game. She's been able to bounce back and forth between everybody, and that's kind of why I think Carla has a little bit of a leg up. But again, I can see it going either way, and I think Carla, I see Jesse has a cleaner shot to the end, whereas I don't see that for Carla. I think if Carla gets there, if she's there with anybody but Jesse, she definitely wins. If she's there with Jesse, it could go either way. But I think, Jesse, the number one threat on the board is the one everyone wants out. If he gets her out and gets the end, he wins. If he gets her out, he gets through the Final 4. That's it. He's got it. So he's got to take out Carla, and he's got to get to the end. That's his only 2 things he got to do to win the game. And I think. Do you think anybody else beats him?
No, I think he could be the one most likely to win. I'm saying.
Oh, even you say he even beat Carla, yeah. And I can see that too. I think
I was saying before because I think she's kind of muddied the waters a little bit with her alliances, showing how she was blatantly lying when people knew and just stuff like that. So that
her game's been a little bit exposed the last couple weeks, like you said. I agree, and I think he's guaranteed to win if he takes out Carla. But like you said, maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe he takes out. He takes out Cassidy or Gabler next time, and then it's like gets to the Final 4, and there was like, well, we can't let Carla get to the end, so they take out Carla at the Final 4, and he's there. Or if somehow she wins the immunity or she wins the fire, maybe he still beats her. So I don't know if he's he talked about like this week, like he doesn't know if he wants to take out Carla because the target's still on her. Mm-hmm. So if you can maneuver around that, fantastic, do it. And I think that maybe that's the right way for him to go. I think you said I think he can beat. I think he beats everybody but Carla, and maybe he beats Carla too. I really don't know, but you said if you can just do that, get to the end, ideally without Carla, I think he's got it. Best shot to win the game, I think personally, is
Carla.
Yeah, I think she gets the end with anybody. She wins, but again, you're making the argument for Jesse over Carla, and I can still see that too. And
I want Carla to win, but I'd be fine with either of them. I could just see how she might not win because of how she's kind of muddied the waters and exposed it.
And I've been so on the Carla train for so long. She's been like my number one player for the week for pretty much the entire season. And I haven't really seen it, but the more you talk about it in the last couple of weeks, I've kind of seen her game kind of in not as positive of a light.
It's diminished, yeah.
And I think the jury's kind of seen that too. Especially, and not for nothing, the jury loves voting for the person who wasn't in control the whole game. They love voting for the person who they can justify voting for that person because they did enough. Not like an Owen who didn't do anything, right? Or like, whoever, a Romeo last season, right? He didn't do anything. But a person who kind of was, why did Sandra win Heroes versus Villains? Sandra won Heroes versus Villains because she was the whole time, she was fighting against the people in charge. they never got rid of her because whatever. But she was fighting against people in charge, and that's why we like her. She's on our side. She's trying to take out the leader, and so I think that's definitely a thing. And Carla has kind of been in control the whole game, and a lot of times the jury hates that because the jury's like, you just steamrolled from beginning to end, and if they can give you credit for it, and you're the only one at the end, fantastic. But if somebody else is kind of a little more of an underdog, that story, it's really the finale is the final three is just telling you a good story, and positioning yourself as it's like politics. Vote for me, don't vote for them.
They also have to believe your story though,
and that's completely right. And that's because so many times people get to the end and they're like, "Yeah, I played a great game. Here's what I did." And I said, "What game are we watching?" Because they don't believe you. So very, very, very true.
Anybody can tell a story, but other people can know what's right or what's true and what's not true, because that's what happened last time with people blowing up people's stories.
For sure, absolutely. So I said I can see it being Carla. I can see it being Jesse. I think more we've talked about, I'm more thinking Jesse's gonna win. But again, it's just a matter of him getting to the end. So maybe switch Carla's second best shot. Carla's second best shot to win. She beats anybody but Jesse, and I think Jesse beats anybody as long as he gets to the end. I think so. I think I want to switch those and do five is best shot to win is Owen. Fourth is Gabler. Third is Cassidy. Second is Carla versus Jesse. Yes, you've convinced me. So we'll see. I would be happy though with a Carla or a Jesse win. I'd be happy with either one. I think they both played really good games, and I'd be happy. And not for nothing, but Jesse's my winner pick. So from day one. So I'll take that one. I'll get my second ever correct pick after last season of picking the person to go out first to win the game. So let's put the animals to bed. Let's call it a night. I love the penultimate. We get to kind of talk about the road to the end. I love as we get closer to the finale and kind of being able to talk about all that. So it's my favorite time of the year, getting ready for the finale and kind of looking at who's got the best shot and everything. So, but be sure to subscribe to miss anything. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/pavementroadprod. You can email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Subscribe, share the post. Tell your friends. Obviously, we'll be back here in the next couple weeks for the finale and talk all about it. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. Let's go put the animals to bed. And anything else, Jessica?
I don't think so.
Are you ready for the finale?
Yes, Christmas. I'm ready for Christmas.
Exactly. Finale and then literally 10 days till Christmas. So awesome. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks for subscribing, sharing the post. And until next time, I got nothing else for you because the tribe has spoken.